So, I'm going to talk about ancient cosmology. And so I've been studying especially these ancient Japanese or, early Japanese Buddhist maps of America. And so I've been basically studying the scripture, Japanese Buddhist scripture, the illustrated essentials of rebirth. And from 1843. I mean, there may be versions of it that precede this. I'm not sure. It might just be that the versions I'm studying are from 1843. That's the date it gives in my source book, but there could be earlier versions of that scripture as well. It describes the underworld of the iron rope. So Jigoku, often translated as hell, might literally mean the underworld, like Jigoku. Ji might mean either under or other, and then Goku, I think, can mean world or land. Sorry. So yeah, this one is the first one that I deciphered, like I think I wrote something here, this may have been the first Japanese hellscape I ever deciphered early last year, and I've now deciphered some or all of up to 22 of the 33 panels in the series, including maps of Europe and Asia. The last 12 months have been my most productive year in terms of the amount of maps I've deciphered, even though most of them were from this single sequence of hellscapes, so it could and in some sense should be considered one map of immense size and detail. So yeah, it's been my most productive 12-month period in terms of, each of these panels that take up a page in my book, source book. They're all very detailed, so I'm treating them each as a map. So if I've deciphered some or all of 22 of the 33, then that's a lot, but it still leaves more. So yeah, this was the first one. It was easier because it just has this thin, rope, basically the black rope, the iron rope. And so, and it has these guys like falling off and climbing. Seems to be this person climbing on it, and then this is the person that's about to fall off, and this shows them after they've already fallen off. They're about to get cooked, bro. On the right hand and the left, so this is from the scripture about this hell, about this section of hell, which is the second highest, most northern section of Naraka, of the underworld. Hello, bro. Hey, there's somebody watching. Right on. Good morning. Here it's 5:31 p.m. So if you're over in South Asia, it must be the morning time. Namaste. So yeah, it says, referring to this section of the underworld, Naraka, says, on the right hand and the left are high iron mountains. On the top of these mountains are fastened flagstaffs made of iron, and an iron rope is fastened at either end to these staffs and thus stretches from one mountain top to the other. Beneath this rope are placed in a row a number of large cauldrons filled with a boiling, steaming substance. The sinners with heavy burdens fastened on their backs are forced to walk across on this rope, and naturally they cannot help from falling into the boiling cauldrons below. So this is the person falling down, and these are the cauldrons are down here. And it even shows some of these kind of rivers like coming. I think this is probably this river here that comes up, and then yeah, this one has a lot of detail. And they say the sinners, but it just means people. because, in Buddhism, as in Christianity, etc., people are all sinners. Like, they're all sinners. So it says, like, one of the ways you fall into this underworld, this section of Jigoku, is if you play drums, or or wind instruments, or if you ever ate meat, or even if you ever ate a plant, if you ever took a life, then, so yeah, everybody's a sinner. Everybody goes to all the different hells. That's the fun of it. Let's see. This is somebody from Imuruk Basin. So I've been deciphering lately Imuruk Basin in Alaska. And so it's another northerly hell. It's a little bit after this. It's basically the next one after. Yeah, it's the next one after this one. And it's actually just situated just that way. So here's somebody was tearing city or county worker or something, tearing down all my posters for my Black History class. And he's such a dick. He has to tear them in little pieces in front of me, to show how he hates Black history or something. Pathetic. Let's see. So this is a part of the same Japanese Buddhist Essentials of Rebirth, but this is something where it doesn't have a painting, I don't think, of it, but I think I still found it from the text. So this seems to be the part of the iron rope hell described in the 1843 Essentials, Illustrated Essentials of Rebirth, as a place where demons use iron nets. So there's the quote. Sometimes they spread nets made of innumerable hot iron ropes and drive the sinners into these. And then an evil wind begins to blow, which wraps the fiery nets around the sinners, roasting the flesh and charring the bones. The land on the bottom is likely the nets, especially since the regions before and after this text surround this part of Seward Peninsula. The net area is the closest part of America to Asia, about 55 miles away, and is where the Bering Land Bridge was. So, there used to, they say there used to be land that connected Asia to America. It went to exactly this area. This area is called the Bering Land Bridge Reserve or something. Asia is visible from the mountains just above the Holy Netland. So this is right here, the closest part of America to Asia. It's like across there. So you can't see Asia from here. There's like a town here, but called Wales. You can't see it from there because it's at sea level, I guess due to the curvature of the earth or something. But you can see it from here. So these are the mountains just near Wales. So if you're up here, you can see Asia. And yet people will tell us that nobody ever went back and forth for 10,000 years. It's fucking idiotic. So this is showing more of what I believe is the net area. So again, this is the closest land of America to Asia, and it's, for obvious reasons, it looks kind of like an iron net. Iron because it's dark soil, net because it's full of holes. And there's the and so yeah, here's I guess this is Lop Lagoon. I know that I'm pretty sure this is part of Lop Lagoon, which is where that other scene was. I'm not sure what all of this is, but it probably relates to the story of the people being all charred, their bones being charred and everything. That kind of looks like that. Let's see. So yeah, this is in the Imuruk Basin. So let me jump ahead, or I'm not sure if I had Imuruk, if I had deciphered anything from Imuruk in my last video. I'm guessing not. I think my last video was about the LA, Channel Islands avatars. So let me try to go. Yeah, I was like back here with all the Channel Island stuff. So, but I might be able to do some follow-ups on that as well. Yeah, let's just start here. So this is actually this entire section of hell, which are Jigoku, the underworld, which is like, hell is the Norse name for America, but Jigoku is one of the Japanese names. Hey, Ronald, how's it going? And fellow researcher. And so yeah, this panel is the Channel Islands, so they're all shown here. And then this panel is basically north of there. It starts in like north, like Sonoma County, Northern California, and then goes down to like Big Sur area. So a lot of this is in like Monterey. See, where is she? So here's the Monterey woman, the Monterey guy, and then these other ones are like beyond there, around like Carmel and stuff. So anyway, this is called the Great Screaming Hell, and it's referred to as the place where drunkards, gamblers, adulterers, and people who use foul language go. So that's still pretty accurate. That's probably describes a lot of us here. Yeah. So let's see. This was some anime I was watching that seemed like it might have been giving a hint about the fact the underworld is the opposite hemisphere. And this is the episode Across the Netherworld. So here's the upper world, Asia, or for Japanese people, this is the upper world, Afro-Eurasia. Down here is the underworld, America, and with the upside down people, just like in Stranger Things, the upside down represents the underworld. This is Santa Rosa Island in the Channel Islands, Southern California. So it kind of zooms in on the face there, and he has kind of a funny smile. He reminds me of Patrick Starr, actually, this guy. But he's having a good time. Here's like Southern California, LA, Long Beach, Santa Monica, Santa Barbara. And so, yeah, these are where these islands are. Like this one, this guy, and this rock that he's tied to are both Santa Catalina there. This guy and the guy he's torturing and the pole he's tied to are all Anacapa, the 3 Anacapa Islands. Yeah, etc. So that's where they all are. Here's where they are. They guard the coast. This is the most important part of ancient cosmology, was coastal guardians, peninsulas, and coastal islands. Here we have Santa Catalina Islands. And so the demon torturing Santa Catalina is Santa Barbara there, Santa Barbara Island, which is actually, much smaller. So they in this type of system, they routinely, magnify and shrink things for various reasons. So yeah, here this seems to be the demon Santa Barbara Island, and this is Santa Catalina, which is the closest to LA and Long Beach and Orange County and whatnot, Inglewood. Here's these three. So this is like Santa Rosa Island is torturing Santa Cruz Island here. And then this guy whose like eyes are bleeding out is San Miguel. But he's retrograde. He's flipped retrograde, which might be significant. He's the only island flipped retrograde. It could be because he's the furthest east and almost the furthest north, or some other reason. And then it just shows how they're near Santa Barbara and Lompoc and whatever's up there. And so yeah, this is Santa Rosa. So I was trying to find like some of the other details of him. Like he has this weird loop in his thing he's holding. So I'm guessing this loop is actually, like, I think his elbow is actually this part, even though here it's kind of tucked in more, but I'm guessing his shoulder's here, his elbow's there, and his hand is probably like here. And then this loop, I think, is like this, which kind of is a loop type of formation there. And then there's like another loop, which I think matches something in there just beyond there. And that's like something he's torturing Santa Cruz with. So this is zooming in on his face and on this loop thing. So, it's kind of oblong the same way, and it also kind of continues on into a line the way this one does. So I'm pretty sure that's that. There's Santa Barbara and Santa Catalina. I think they also just call it Catalina. And Catalina has, I guess it's Southern Catalina or whatever this is called Avalon. So that shows, the people who have the power to name parts of islands and whatnot, a lot of them probably know that Avalon, the underworld, is America. They just don't teach it in school or anything. They might teach it in their secret societies, but so yeah, this is, again, without all the text, Southern California up and showing these islands guarding the coast. Daikyo Kanjikoku. See, this is a 68,000-year-old, or it's a cave with 68,000-year-old paintings, possibly the oldest cave art on Earth in Indonesia, in I think Sulawesi. But I mean, I think all the articles online misled us because they made it seem, they were posting this picture and saying it was 68,000 years old. But the more I looked into it, I think it's just something else in the same cave is 68,000 years old. These, I don't know how old they are, but I mean, could be quite old, but I don't know how old. But it looks like it's holding the same type of, horn thing that this 29,000-year-old French bas relief goddess is holding. I don't know if she's Venus or what. And yeah, there's these guys with this little more text. And there, I guess they found Pharaoh Tutmos II's tomb, and of course he's black like the other pharaohs. Here's Oakland. This is Oakland, Alameda, and San Francisco. So in the Japanese hellscapes. So it seems that, this ghost right here, this woman is this uh, Heron's Head point and this adjacent headland, literally and figuratively. And then her long hair is a Islas Creek channel right here, and her other part of her hair is Warm Water Cove. I was here the other day. I went on her lower jaw. I went to the end of her lower jaw, and we drove across her hair, across Islas Creek Channel. And this guy is like Hunters Point Naval Yards, basically his head. And then this guy here is like Candlestick Point is his lower jaw, and then Bayview area is his head. So we drove basically over his head, but we didn't get out there because we didn't have time. But almost like fell off a cliff there though, because there was like, we're going along a road and the GPS says turn right. Start turning right, and it's almost like a sheer drop, like, some of these San Francisco streets. So like if we had been going fast, we would have been fucked. Like we would have literally just like gone off a cliff. But we were like, no, we'll find another way. So yeah, this is Bay Bridge, which goes over Yerba Buena Island and then goes on to the horn of the Oakland Demon, his right horn, I guess, or I guess his left, our right. And then so yeah, we also drove along there, so I was but it's hard to see very much of these type of avatars from on top of them. It's better from further away or up above or something. Like in Buddhism, they refer to the people who can conceptualize these shapes as having the third eye or the celestial eye, which makes them like a bodhisattva or something. But I could tell you it's pretty fucking hard for me without Google Earth. So yeah, that's his horns are these two peninsulas which frame Oakland Harbor, and his elbow and arm are Alameda Island, and his knee is Bay Farm Island, and his mouth is Lake Merritt. And stuff like that. This is just this shape that I found in like the Central Coast or somewhere around, I don't know, Santa Barbara or something, that I thought kind of looked like a face. And this again is Southern California with all the Channel Island Guardians. And oh yeah, they could be holding the cornucopia. That's a good point, Ron. Cornucopia, which also might relate to some Australian cosmology. So yeah, here's all these islands, and it's just showing the whole lay of the land in terms of modern place names and everything. So like the Channel Islands basically stretch from like Orange County to, where Santa Maria area, or, Lompoc or whatever the heck, Vandenberg. So it's a pretty big stretch. It's basically like all of Southern California, or most of it, is encompassed by this area, which is the part of California where everybody lives. This, I think, oh yeah, I just thought it looked like a guy that's holding like two beasts or something. That's like a common ancient motif, is some deity or person like holding an animal on each side. Here's Santa Rosa again. Santa Rosa. Here I'm trying to like, because I think this is somehow this foot, and then this is somehow this foot, even though that's kind of the wonkier part of him. This one, I think I took a picture at an angle, so instead of zooming in on his head as a separate photo, I took a photo at an angle to make the head a bit bigger, but you still can't see very much of the details on it. Santa Rosa. This is the foot of San Miguel. So San Miguel here is, the painting in the hellscape is flipped retrograde, flipped backwards. Looks like the image is spazzing out already. It seems like these YouTube live videos, like the image turns to shit like halfway through or something. Awesome. Let's see if I can zoom in and see. Here's the guy. Here's his hand, seems to be here. His, I guess this is his hair sticking out there. And then his hunchback or humpback is there. And here's his face with his eyes like falling out or something. And then this is his other hands down here, right there, number 6. And then his knees, number 4. It's shown these 2 knees. So I think that's like this part here, this green part is one knee, and then this other green part is the other knee. And the fact that his arm goes over the tips of the knees may kind of explain why the tips of the knees are weirdly shaped, that they're kind of being blocked. And then also this other person's feet are between the knees and this guy's foot, which I think is to hide the fact that there's no land between. So again, they use things like that to signify stuff. And so yeah, this island seems to be his foot, and the foot just shows only the big toe sticking out, no other toes, and then it kind of tapers back diagonally, and the heel is not shown. So that matches with that island, which looks like a foot with a big toe that tapers back diagonally without any other toes and without the heel. So that's good. It's like those weird random things that fully, that are of evidence, because it would not just happen by chance. See, this shows like the Southeast Asia foot, which also has a big toe that's, sticks out from the other toes. In this case, the other toes are basically Singapore, which is actually a separate island, but there is this big kind of delineated toe that's the tip of the mainland of Malaysia. So I don't know. It's cool. Big toe energy going on. San Miguel Island. This shows him like his eyes are falling out or whatever. So this is one. The other one I'm guessing is like this mountain range is like the trajectory of it. And it's like shown before, like this is usually the after picture, like what the sacred image is, whereas the reality is the before. But sometimes the sacred image is the before and then the real is the after. This is like part of the hellscape for this section of Alaska, or no, not Alaska, this is Humboldt. So Humboldt Bay, Arcata Bay, there's this demon with a black kettle full of molten metal. He's pouring on this ghost or whatever. And so the kettle seems to be this black formation in Arcata Bay that seems to have this kind of handle on it and stuff. And so anyway, I found this last year. This year it's already gone. It's already erased by the government and the capitalists. They destroyed that whole fucking thing. They just sucked it all out, whatever was in there, oil or something, and now it's just gonna, I guess, look like that for eternity. I don't like capitalists. All right, so that's why I'm glad I got all these pictures last year while it still existed. So yeah, here's that dude's face again. So Anapaka Island, that's the three-pronged island that is basically three islands that represents like a demon torturing a guy on a pole, is from the Chumash word Anyapax or Anyapach or something that means illusion. Probably because of some optical illusion when you sail by it. So this is Anacapa. West Anacapa, Middle Anacapa, and East Anacapa. And so it's treated like one island, but there's technically separate islands, and there's even maybe other little islands along it, but three main sections. And yeah, so this is the big demon. This is the ghost. And this seems to be the pole because this is a very long and straight and thin island as islands go. And the things coming out of it may be the chains that bind him to it. This is the Santa... this is West Anacapa, right? So yeah, and he kind of has this little subtle smile going on. Yeah, there's his smile, and he has big cheekbones and stuff. Let's see, this is Imuruk Basin in Alaska. This one I found like last year sometime, but I didn't really go much further with the rest of that hellscape. So I've been trying to I think I've now finally deciphered the rest of that section. So yeah, this guy I think is this, and this is his hand coming up. And then there's some other stuff that goes to midway of the arm, which may explain why it doesn't look like the full length of an arm. And yeah, this is this thing. There again is West Anacapa. So his horns, this is shaped like this horn, but I'm not totally sure if that means it is that or not. Because it's so weirdly placed. Channel Islands. So people have been there over 12,000 years in the Channel Islands. This is the face of America, Greenland, and skeleton face. So yeah, this is in Imuruk Basin. This guy with his axe seems to be this delta and peninsula. And then the axe is basically water with sea mounts, and the sea mounts are treated as the shimmering of the axe. And then his pointy chin is here, and his elbow is here, and he's kind of nuzzled into the ground in the picture. So yeah, and he has a big cheek there. And so yeah, this kind of seamounty place that looks kind of shimmery or cloudy, I think is supposed to be the shimmery part of his axe, which is important because it's good to know about underwater hazards, especially in Imuruk Basin, which is only like 10 feet deep anyway. So you gotta be careful. There he is. And then this is this other character in there, another demon, another part of the Imuruk Basin shore. It's like a horned, smiling character. Pretty hard to see with this image, but you can kind of see him there. And so yeah, he has two weird kind of horns sticking forward. And yeah, and he has like this weird stuff going on his back, like this black part, I think is this water in here. Has like this little part that comes off, like a small part that dips down, I think is this part here. And then this weird like turtle shell looking thing, I think is in here. This, I think this is this demon that's helping him. I'm guessing this is its smile, and I think its face is flipped retrograde, like its body is correct, but I think the smile on the face is like flipped, which happens in some of these. Here's this one's head. And so he has this, like his cheek is like this line. I don't know what that is, but there's some line that comes down and then kind of comes down there. Some topography. And then his tooth is like this part right here. Anyway. And eventually I got some better photos of this. This, I think, is this guy. Like, this is his mouth, this is his nose, his eye, and this is his body and his stub thing there. And I guess I'm thinking these two people are those two people. Like, try to find a better example, but so yeah, this is like the whole scene. It's the horned guy here, and then his friend is here, and then they're torturing the guy here. Here's the guy with the axe. Here's the guy with the long weapon and his victim, and then here's this guy with this weird shape down there. So I was just, there's already evidence that the Japanese reached America before Columbus. There's genetic evidence that, people left, Japanese DNA arrived in Alaska in the Northwest. But also we know that people from Japan went to India a long time ago, which is like 4,000 miles away or something. But we're not supposed to believe they could go to Alaska, which is only 1,300 miles away. Also, from Britain to Italy is 2,000 miles, which, the Romans went to Britain 2,000 years ago. And yet we're not supposed to believe that island-dwelling sea people like the Japanese could cross this little bit of land. All right, so this, I think, is when I finally got better pictures with flash. of some of these things. So yeah, here's the axe guy with his shiny axe. And then this weird random shape, and then this person here, and then just putting their arm out. Like, no. This is me on the Heron's Head Park in San Francisco on that ghost's face. So you can see that like a lot of that area of San Francisco and Oakland that is the avatars is made up of this type of bay fill. But you can also see that there's also land there. There's also beach. It was already just kind of wetlands, and then they built it up. This is from either on top of the horn or maybe just before one of the horns on the Bay Bridge. And looking at the other horn of Oakland. Yeah, I was like going onto this horn, going onto this, and looking at that one. And then this is the San Francisco park that I was in. I was on this Lower Jaw Park. Right there. And going over Islas Creek Channel. So yeah, I think this is this guy's head. It's pretty wonky, but... And... So like his nose is really skinny on the end, which they do show it as skinny on the end, but anything weird you always have to increase. Like they show it kind of pointy, but if they showed it as pointy as it is, it would look even too weird. So it's always midway between what it is and what it's meant to resemble, which is an anthropomorph. So it's less anthropomorphic the more it is what it really is, but you know, we get the idea. And it has this pointy upper lip here. Has the eye here and kind of a baggy eye, maybe eye bags, and this thing coming off the end, and then this whole like, eyebrow that goes back and connects to this other line somehow back here. And this seems to be this other character. This seems to be him. And, you know, this part here seems to be like this and this, I'm guessing, or this and something there. And... So yeah, I like this guy because there's so many, you know, there's some things that are much vaguer lessons, but that one has a lot of detail. So yeah, the Bering Strait, yada yada, discovered by the Russians by a Norwegian guy or Danish, born Russian explorer. So that area was basically part of the Russian Empire for a while, including Alaska. The view of how Paleo Indians entered America has been dominant. Blah, blah, blah. Numerous successful crossings without the use of a boat have also been recorded since at least the early 20th century. This is saying that people have walked from Asia to America many times, and nobody tells us this. This is one of many things that they will never tell you in school because they don't want you to know how things really are. So you can walk across on the ice. It like freezes in the winter. It's hard, but you can do it. Freezes annually. Yes, it is possible sometimes to see the Siberian mainland from high ground near Wales, Alaska on a very clear day. So yeah, you can see Asia from America. You can see America from Asia. And let's see. And a lot of people have swum across. So yeah, I guess, yeah, maybe it was referring to that as well. So people have both walked across the ice in winter and swam across the water in summer from Asia to America. And yet people will tell you we can all do this now, but for 10,000 years nobody could do it somehow. We hadn't evolved the ability to walk. There's a whole swim relay based on just swimming across from Asia to America or whatever. So yeah, these are things that if they told us, it would make it sound even stupider, the idea that nobody ever crossed for 10,000 years. And then they also, if you just ask, they tell you, no, you cannot see across. Google will just lie to everybody. You have to know exactly the question to ask, and then it'll be like, oh, well, yeah, you can actually. This is one of the underworld hell parks in Asia. I guess they're all over the place. I think I finally found this hand in the Imuruk section that seems to be the arm starts here, and then the hand is like up there. Arm, fingers, palm, I think, is this mountain area. And then this could be another iteration because this kind of looks like a fist and an arm. But if so, it's not pictured. So yeah, this guy, I think that guy with his long thing to stick the other person with. This person seems to be this. This is their face sticking out, and I don't know if this is the pole or what the pole is, but yeah, you can see their two nostrils in their mouth sticking up. And so yeah, I haven't worked out all the details on those. This one, I think that his thumb is this part right here because it has that kind of shape somewhat. And then I think this finger might even be something over here like this because it seems like it's separated out from the other fingers here. And then with this as the palm. And there's kind of the whole body of this guy. I'm guessing this is probably his toes. This is his hand, etc., etc. This guy. Oh yeah, so this time I flipped it so the face is retrograde and matches there. So it has kind of the big cheek right here. And then the mouth is kind of double here because I think it's these two waterways that kind of are separate. I don't know. That's best I can do with that guy. And then these two things somehow being his horns. And so yeah, here's these two guys. And then I think that this saw is like this thing and or this thing. Something in there. And likewise, I think this is basically part of the same hell as the last one, where you go here if you've ever played drums or like blown into a conch shell or animal or anything. And that one. So this is the California hell. The hell of great lamentations. So yeah, murderers, thieves, adulterers, drunkards, and those who use evil language fall into this hell. So that's kind of still how California probably is. This kind of looks like a face. I think this is in Alaska. No, this is my discovery in Louisiana, the bear up to 4,000-year-old native mounds. This is Göbekli Tepe, 12,000-year-old map of North America as a bird. This is that ghost with his disembodied arm and hand here, and his other arm and hand sticking up. Right there. Kind of gets a good image. This is trying to show all these guys. I mean, it's pretty hard because this guy is so hard to see the details of that it's never really going to be that visible, but at least, you know, this shows most of this section as these characters here. Or yeah, put like numbers. There's this one again, these guys. This guy again. So yeah, I haven't really worked out like, I mean, maybe this is his belly, I don't know, but if so, then I don't know where his legs would be since this is the head of the other person. I don't know. And that's about it. All right. Thank you much. Thanks, Ronald, and take care. See if I can turn this off.